afternoon. Good afternoon. Hear me? Hello, hello. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Sorry I'm late. How you guys doing? Well, I hope. Pretty big. Where you at? I was making me some hot tea. My bad. How you doing, buddy? Good afternoon. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Well, I hope. It feels so good. Let's get started. Hey, Nurse Ratchet, how are you? Thank you for coming. How are you doing? Well, I hope. Well, I hope. Yeah, so before we even get started, I want to preface this with saying it's kind of like what I touched on this morning. Um, I think this might be the first time I called you live. I think you might be right. I'm happy you have time. You decided to spend some of that time with me. Appreciate that. Um, so this is our the Plight of series. This is the first webisode we're going to be doing. We're going to be discussing women. Dag nabbit, it's been a day. Lord have mercy. Hold on. Passive aggressive women. The plight of a passive aggressive woman, or the plight of passive aggressive women. And what I was saying this morning, one of the things that I was saying this morning, as grown women, um, if we were to really like keep it a being, I'm sure we all have been passive aggressive in whatever stage in our life, whether that's routinely, sometimes, a couple times, at least once or twice. We have all, as grown women, have had passive aggressive moments or tendencies. But I do want to get into it, so let's start. And hopefully StreamYard doesn't kick me out. Matter of fact, no, I think I'm going to, just so I don't have to play these games with StreamYard, I'm going to try to just read off of my other device. Just bear with me, y'all. My bad. But do you think that would be something fair to say, Nurse Ratchet? Do you think you have been passive aggressive at times before, even if that's not your norm? I find this to be true professionally for sure, right? Especially when you have to send those per my last emails, basically saying, can you read? I can see one feeling the need or having to be a bit passive aggressive in the workplace because you definitely can't always call a thing, even when it's a thing. At least not in the way we would like to. Not when you're trying to get that money. So I can definitely see that. Hey Shakira, good afternoon. How are you doing? Well, I hope. Thank you for being here. I don't want to be seen as active. I don't want it to be seen as active aggression in a field that already looks at Black women as aggressive bullies. Exactly, exactly. Because so that's where the passive would be a little needed. Because either way, what needs to be done needs to be done. What needs to be verbalized needs to be verbalized. Whatever information needs to be passed along needs to be passed along. Whether that's charge nurse to CNA, you know what I mean? However, which way the cookie crumble, and everybody's personalities are different. Like People are so different. I finally caught you live. Yeah, I'm happy about that, Shakira. Lisa did too. I said we're gonna get into it. Shakira, do you think it would be say it's a fair thing to say that as grown women we all have been or have been passive aggressive before, or may have had or have passive aggressive tendencies? Do you think that's a fair thing to say? And it's so funny because even you said wait, repeat that again. Because we're doing this is our webisode one of our new series we're getting into the plight of. So for this one, this webisode is the plight of the passive aggressive woman, right? And what I asked was, because I had said before you came in that as grown women, I think it's safe and fair to say that we all have at least one stage or point in our life have been passive aggressive or have be acted passive aggressive, you know. And what I was asking you was, do you think that's fair to say? Do you think you act a little passive aggressive sometimes, or that you have? I know I have. And Lisa says she finds herself at times being passive aggressive in the workplace because as Black women, when you are actively aggressive and firm with certain things in the field that she works in, you know, they're already black women are already typecasted in that way, you know, stereotyped in that way. He says sometimes, yeah. So I think that's a fair assessment to make. Let's see. Come on, internet. I don't have time for this mess. All right, I'm just gonna look for my phone and hopefully it doesn't kick me out. I remain assertive for sure. You have to be. You don't really need too many gray areas. So, but this is especially confusing for other races. Yeah, probably for men too of other races and some of other cultures too, because they're not. Some men of other cultures are not used to or accustomed to assertive women. You know, they take offense to that. They're used to their women being a wee bit on the timid side to a certain extent. But this is especially, you said I don't want to be seen in that way. I dig it. I dig it. Let's see. Let's close out some of these windows that I have opened. Okay. I appreciate y'all being here. Okay. So it says passive aggression is an indirect expression of anger, resentment, or frustration. It manifests through subtle behaviors like the silent treatment, backhanded compliments, procrastination, and forgetting commitments. Okay. Since because the hostility is hidden behind plausible deniability, addressing it directly can be challenging. Okay. While it is important to avoid overgeneralizing, Studies and relationship experts often observe that women, because mind you, we're talking about the plight of passive aggressive women, even though men and women behave this way. Says studies and relationship experts often observe that women are frequently, socialized to express anger passively rather than overtly, you know, like as if that's our makeup of the sorts, right? When overt aggression is discouraged, passive tactics become a way to cope with conflict or exert control. Like in the workplace, you have to conduct yourself a certain way, but things still need to be done. So it's common signs and manifestations. Indirect communication, saying I'm fine when clearly upset, or using sarcasm disguised as honesty. Okay, so let's see. Saying I'm fine when clearly upset. How many times have you guys found yourself doing that? If you're upset or you're bothered by something and somebody asks you, you know, what's wrong? What's the matter? Are you okay? And for whatever reasoning, whether it's you don't, you know, you're not necessarily in the mood to actually talk about what it is that's bothering you. You may not want to talk about it to that person who's able to pick up on the fact that somebody's bothering you or something's bothering you. You may already be in the thick of doing something already, so you don't really necessarily have the quote unquote time to actually sit and talk about what it is that's bothering you. Whatever your reasoning, whatever your reasoning. Because obviously something is bothering you. So when you say, I'm fine, that's you being passive aggressive, even if you're not trying to. Although there very well could be legit reasons. Even if when you're in a relationship, your partner might ask you what's wrong, or you might ask your partner what's wrong, and they might say nothing or I'm fine, but you know it's something and they're not fine. It's okay for them to give you that space and that time to sort out whatever you need to sort out, and vice versa, as well as spinning the block, circling back to retouch on that, you know, especially when they're your partner, that like they're your partner. So the onus is on you to not only if they say I'm fine or nothing, giving them that space, okay, but keep it in the front and the back of your mind, like, yeah, they're full of shit, and we're gonna touch on this later. Let's see. I always try to be straightforward in what I am saying, but I guess as Black women, they don't like the way we communicate because we are honest. Some people, men or women, they just honestly like to be coddled. They like to be coddled. They don't really want to deal with whatever the issue is. They may not want to hear it. All type of things. So they rather you just be like, okay, no, it's fine. No problem. I'll handle it. I'll take care of it. You know, those type of things. Unfortunately. So let's see. I do that, but I only give 2 opportunities. Don't ask me twice. Right, because sometimes it's just better for all parties involved if we just leave well enough alone for now. Hold on. But like I also have said in a previous live, you have some people that will ask you how are you or how you're doing with no real intention on hearing you out if you are the type of person that actually, because there's some people, you ask them how they're doing, they won't say, oh, I'm good, and keep it moving. They're likely to start telling you their whole plight, you know. And if you're not prepared for that or really have a full understanding as to the type of person you are asking this, don't ask somebody how they are doing if you're not prepared or don't really want to hear or don't really care for how they're doing. Just say what's up. Hey, Run Buddy. Good afternoon, V. Good afternoon. Sorry I was late. I was making some hot tea. Some hot tea for a hot tea. How are you doing? Well, I hope. Well, I hope. Me, I do that, but I tell them I don't want to talk about it at the time. There you go. There's nothing to passive aggressive about that. That's keeping it a bean. You're just letting them know. Yeah, there's something, but I'm not really trying to touch on what that something is at the moment. But thank you for asking me. I do appreciate it. Straight up. Let me see. Gary, Indiana up in here. Uh-oh. It's a lot of legends that were produced out of Gary. A man with no heart has no part. I say it's all good. Small is to a giant. Cool beans. Cool beans. Let's see. No bars. All the bars we can talk about. Buddy. Girl, it's 103 outside. My people are from Indiana. I'm telling you, Indiana produces legends. Let's see. What is hitting for? It's 92 right now. All right, let's continue. We're going over common signs and manifestations of a woman who is passive aggressive. Okay? Backhanded compliments. I don't like these. Backhanded compliments. I'm going to address these with the front hand. I don't like backhanded compliments, backhanded statements, because you're going to get a front-handed response. Remarks that sound like praise but contain a subtle hidden insult or put down. Can you guys give me some examples of what you would consider a backhanded compliment? Remarks that sound like praise but contain a subtle hidden insult or put down. I don't deal with those. I don't take nicely to those. Hold on. Don't give them to me. Like, so say if you have a small channel, right? And someone says, "Oh, you seem to be doing your thing with your small channel." Or for your channel to be as small as it is, like, no, just say, "I'm doing my thing." Don't say, "For you to have such a small channel, you seem to be doing your thing." Thank you. What else? Give me some examples, guys, if you can, of what you would consider a backhanded compliment. Oh, you're so knowledgeable to be so young. Because first of all, like we talked about, there's no age limit or gap on knowledge. when someone is trying to be nice, trying to be way too nice, and the whole time they're trying to copy you, that could be annoying, especially if they don't give cred, you know, especially if they don't give credit. That's annoying. I got that too via she about my YouTube channel. Instead of just saying, Shakira, I love your content, you know, I love your content. I enjoy the content that you put out. You're always teaching us something. And that is completely separate from the quote unquote size of your channel, you know? Let's see. Resistance. Forgetting, quote unquote, forgetting to complete tasks, habitual lateness, or deliberate procrastination to express discontent. Okay? So let's see. Say if you have a group of friends, right? You have a group of friends. Um, You say you make good chicken, but I'm in the mood for Popeyes. Obviously, that chicken ain't that good if you feel the need to tell a person that you also want some Popeyes. So, say you have a group of friends, right? Or one of your group of friends, whatever. And they always inviting you somewheres, and you never want to go. You never want to go, even if you don't got nothing going on. But instead of you just straight up saying like, I'm not trying to go, because they may be into something that you're not into, right? But they're still your friends nonetheless. So instead of saying, you know what, guys, I'm not really like y'all always want to go bowling. I'm not trying to go bowling. I'm good. You'll still accept a passive aggressive woman will still accept that invitation to go bowling, right? But they will always be late. They will always show up late. They will always have an excuse as to why they need to leave early. Instead of just straight up saying that's not their cup of tea, for whatever their reasoning is, you know, probably because they don't want to hurt their friends' feelings. And that's just one example I gave for that. We're going to go over the signs, common signs, and manifestations of a passive aggressive woman. Okay? Victimhood, making someone else feel guilty rather than simply stating facts. You know? Making someone else feel guilty rather than simply stating facts. So, for example, say if you have a type of woman who is a content creator, right? And she has an issue with another woman who is a content creator, right? She won't get on her live, right? Or on her wall and keep it a beam with her folks and tell them exactly what her issue is with this other woman or what she believes the issue with this other woman has for her to be. She won't say that. It will simply just be, oh, this person doesn't like me. This person is jealous. This person is this. This person is that. She won't ever say what it is that she did to that person, whatever behavior she exhibited towards that person. You know what I mean? It would always be the woe is me. She won't say I was tossing little slick passive aggressive shots out in the air and this other woman caught them and decided to respond, right? So now I'm responding. You know, she won't ever say, um, you know, this live is in response to a live that this other content creator did responding to me. She'll make it seem like she came off the woodwork with some hot shit to speak into her audience's ears. That's what passive aggressive women do. They don't keep it a bean in regards to issues they have with people or parts they may have played in the issues that they have with people, you know? It's always the woe is me while tossing a bunch of shade out there. You see, I be going, yeah, I see it. Hey, Krishna. Good afternoon. Well, really, I think good evening for you. How are you? I'm doing well. We're discussing passive aggressive women. Kristen, do you ever find yourself being passive aggressive or having passive aggressive tendencies? Like done, cool beans. Thank you. Hold on. Okay, let me make sure I got all messages on. Go back. Ah, this one feels good, so I don't mind it. Hold on, y'all. Sorry. Good. Cool beans. You said dag nabbit. I'm in. All right, so super good on the comments. You said, yes, I've had similar experiences via shame. Crazy, you know? And when you don't have, I think a weak support system, a weak audience is the worst to have if you are a passive aggressive woman who is a content creator. Because they're not going to hold you to account. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you're up here and you're talking about people, right? And obviously you have an issue. Sometimes all it takes is for that one person or those couple people to ask you straight up, who are you talking about? You know what I mean? Who are you talking about? What is the problem? Why do you have this issue with this person? Why are you talking about this person? To really get down to the nitty gritty, you know? And in some people's cases, they don't even realize that that's what they're doing until somebody asks them straight up, who are you talking about? And then that'll make them go, oop, oop, like, let me wind it back a bit. Either let me wind it back a bit or let me just address this head on so I can just get on with it, you know? One of the two. I ain't gotta hold myself accountable. I think it's very important to try to be as self-aware as possible. You know, even though it's not always easy, but it's not impossible. All right. And then the last one at least that they list for us, we're going over common signs and manifestations of passive aggressive women or a passive aggressive woman. Hold on. The silent treatment. Withdrawing communication entirely as a way to punish or manipulate the other person. You know, withdrawing communication entirely as a way to punish or manipulate the other person. I like that one because for me, if I withdraw communication entirely, it's not as a way in a way to punish anybody because once I do that, you have already shown me that you don't care for me. So if someone already shows you, whether through their words, their actions, or their lack of action, that they don't truly care for you, right? it's not really a punishment. It's not really you shelling out a punishment when you remove yourself from that person or remove them from you, you know, because they don't care for you anyway. Now, the only way it can be seen as a punishment is if what comes with you removing yourself or removing them away from you is they are no longer to be privy to certain benefits that they had from having you around or from you allowing them to be around, whether that's a certain type of support, certain type of advice, monetary, whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? But just in general, I don't look at that as a way to punish someone because, at least for me, when I do it, because I don't feel like they care for me, which is why it's nothing for me to cut them off or manipulate the other person. Yeah. But you have some women who behave in that way. They'll give their man the silent treatment instead of just saying exactly what the issue is. They'll give their coworkers the silent treatment instead of just saying, I don't appreciate that you did this or that. You know what I mean? Or when it comes to what I take from it when they say are to manipulate the other person, they'll give them the silent treatment, not to punish them, but to kind of like urge or egg them on to act for them to initiate the conversation as to what the issue is instead of them just upright saying what the issue is. You know what I mean? They don't want the onus to be on them. They don't want to take the initiative to keep it a being about whatever it is they need to keep it a being about in that moment. You know, they'll go mute or whatever, hoping that the person on the receiving end of that muteness will prompt them with certain questioning or conversations to see what's good. At least that's what I take from that. If you guys take something else from that, please let me know. Hold on. Let me see. This guy did that to me a couple of times. He showed me he didn't care about me or respect me. Right. So therefore, bank, bank, Shakira. You said, wait, B, but those that care for you, you put up short saying you're not feeling them. Buddy, that short was funny because I had clipped up a part of my live that I had did yesterday morning when we were talking. And I was talking about how a passive aggressive woman had took you was in that live. You know the context of that. And then I used that song because I thought it was funny. Duh. Silly Willy. Now somebody will know if I'm not feeling them. I'm not really in the business of letting people think that I'm feeling them if I'm not feeling them. Why would I do that? That's weird. Hold on. Me personally, I don't like for there to be too much gray areas in regards to how I would like to be treated. There's not much gray areas, and that's in any capacity. So therefore, if you cross a certain line, there shouldn't be a reason for you to be shocked or appalled when you're removed. Because I'm very clear on, how I would like to be treated. The same way I'm very clear on how I treat my folks. That's it. But that shirt was funny. Huh? Hold on. But yeah, Shakira, people like once somebody blatantly shows you that they don't care about you or that they don't respect you. And like I said, whether that's through their words, their actions, or in many cases, lack of action. You know what I mean? Heck yeah, you deal with that accordingly and quickly. Especially if you already set the tone, you know, as far as how you expect to be treated and respected. And that's whether that is a family member, a friend, a coworker, your partner, your neighbor, the cashier at the grocery store, whoever. We live in a society. If you're not going to treat me accordingly, I'm going to get you out the way. Yeah, real quick. Think, hold on. All right, let's continue. I'm gonna go over next ones, excuse me, quickly. Then I gotta skedaddle. Okay. It says why it happens. Societal conditioning. From a young age, women are often taught to be quote unquote polite and agreeable, which can make openly expressing anger feel socially risky or quote unquote unprofessional. Okay. Next, fear of conflict. Resorting to indirect communication to avoid arguments, rejection, or hard reactions from others. We're going over why it happens, why some women are passive aggressive or behave in passive aggressive ways. These are only some reasons, okay? And obviously, every woman's different. Hidden envy. Passive aggression can sometimes stem from deep-seated insecurities, personal triggers, or feelings of competition within relationships. Okay. Lastly, unresolved trauma. Growing up in households where direct emotions were dismissed or punished. That's a real issue, a real thing that can be a completely separate life. That is a real thing. And we talked about being a product of your environment. We did a live discussing being a product of your environment. You don't have to be a product of your environment, but that does sometimes, most times, require you to do some work, you know. So we just quickly went over why it happens, why some women are passive aggressive, right? And like anything we discuss, I encourage everybody trust but verify. Do your own research. If I didn't hit on something you would have liked for me to hit on, I know my lives don't be that long. Or if you just want to see if I'm just pulling stuff out of my head, that's your prerogative. And I encourage that, okay? All right, lastly, we're going to go over effective ways to respond if you are dealing with a passive aggressive woman, okay? Call it out firmly and gently. Address the behavior in the moment by asking the person what they mean or by stating how their comment made you feel, okay? Sometimes you just got to straight up ask somebody, what type of time are you on? Just straight up, what type of time are you on? Use I statements, okay? Use I statements. Keep the focus on objective behavior rather than attacking their character. For example, I feel hurt when you make jokes about my work because I talked about this before. You have some people, more so on the passive aggressive side, that will send digs your way and mask it and use the crutch of, oh, it was a joke. I was just joking. I was just playing. No, it wasn't. And even if you thought it was, I don't appreciate that. Okay? Set clear boundaries. Communicate your expectations for direct communication and do not feed into the game by guessing what they want. You know? Straight up. Like I said, some people behave passive aggressively because they don't want to be the ones to open up that can of worms. Even though they would like for that can of worms to be open, they don't want to be the one that pop the top, right? Nah, you pop the top, and I'm gonna follow up. What type of time are you on? All right. We're just going over effective ways to respond. Lastly, limit engagement. Okay. Lastly, but maybe most importantly, depending, limit engagement. If the behavior is chronic or manipulative, consider stepping back from the relationship to protect your peace, okay? Because people are burnt out. And if you don't watch it, you're going to become burnt out with them. Real talk, okay? So I hope everybody was able to get something out of this. Like I said, this is Webisode 1 of our The Plight of series. And we discussed this afternoon the plight of a passive aggressive women. And I feel like we kept it a bean. I feel like we kept it a full bean. We went over what does it mean to be passive aggressive? What are the behaviors? What are some of the reasonings as to why, some women behave in this way? We kept it a bean about the fact that we all behave in this way at times, some more than others. It's just levels to it. And we kept it a bean on different ways to react or respond if you find yourself engaging with a woman who is passive aggressive or who has passive aggressive tendencies, you know? I enjoyed the way this live went. I appreciate you guys participating too. Let me see. Let me see. Wait, y'all are silly. Not butt smashes. Shut up, buddy. He couldn't handle me because I told him the truth. So he said I hurt his feelings. And he may be, and we touched on that before too. There's certain men who are not accustomed, Shakira, to having women in their life that hold them to account and that keep it a being with them. They're used to being coddled. So when they come across a woman who does not coddle them, who holds their feet to the fire, hold them to account, it becomes a whole thing. Exactly, a lot of it is because they haven't dealt with their own trauma. Exactly. Why y'all women like to hurt people's feelings? Buddy, please. I don't like hurting nobody's feelings. He was mad because I wasn't dealing with that trauma. Yeah, not fixing the trauma bond with you, and you're not about to trauma dump on me. For real. That's what you're not going. That's what we're not going to do, and that's what you're not going to do. We are not going to trauma bond, okay? And you are not going to trauma dump, okay? Said period, too. For real. For real, for real. That's normally how it goes. They be about as sweet as pie until it's time for them to be held to account for some things. And you this, and you that, and you this, and you that. Mm-hmm. I know. You said goodbye, VSG. Thank you, Shakira. I appreciate that. Folks like that, Shakira, they're gonna have to learn the hard way if they ever learn. Unfortunately. Yeah. And then if you go back to Shakira, I forget if it was a quick live or a quick upload that I did. Like we discussed before, when it comes to certain people, it's a capacity issue. It's not an issue with you per se. It's a capacity issue on their end. You know, they just don't have it in them. That's all. All right, cool beans. I'm getting out of here. Thank y'all for coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you to any cloud dwellers or anybody that will catch the replay. And I'm not quite sure what I want Webisode 2 to be of the Plight of series, but I'm looking forward to that. And I hope you guys have a great day. Exactly. I was taught to treat people with respect. Yes, and not for them to have to earn it. Nobody had no grown human being that didn't do anything to you should have to earn your respect. But they do need to earn the right to keep it. Okay? You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you. Bye.